Hi, how's it going, guys? My name is Red Scar, and I'm back again with another series tutorial, which is something I haven't done in a while. But this one's how to make hybrid trap, which is a genre I've been listening to a lot recently. And uh, yeah, so anyway, this is used with the AUXTHENTIC sample pack, the Blender Samples Volume 1, because a few days ago, I believe, at the time of recording this video, some guy DM'd me on Instagram, and I'll show you the DM. Because I will comment a lot on like other posts, and he happened to find my one of my comments on Cymatics post, which if you don't know what Cymatics is, it's a big company that makes lots of sample packs, and everyone is like really hyped for them. Honestly, it's kind of overused, but they do make very good samples, and he happened to give me his website for sample packs, which I find is very good. So it comes with some kicks, some hats, and some melodies, some ambient stuff. However, these are for house music, and I don't normally make house music, so I thought I'd give it a little twist on these samples. For the drums, I normally use Cymatics or Virtual Riot drums and not presets, samples like risers and percussion and all that. But I didn't use any of that except for the vocal chants. I only used one Cymatic sound for that. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna break down today. So this song is 150 BPM. It's in the key of F minor. So we're gonna start off with these drums. So the kick drum doesn't have a lot of post-processing, and then you just need to make this simple pattern. Or any variation, like a very like generic trap pattern. It's not like super complicated. So all we have is an EQ boosting some of the mid frequencies because these were super bass heavy. So I had to turn down the bass a little bit. Some compression and the sound goodizer for more compression. And then the snare drum is where it gets very interesting. So this is the snare drum that we have right now. It sounds like a hybrid trap sound. So, but when you take out the post processing, this is what it sounds like. It's a house snare. So what we have here is a sound goodizer, EQ, multi-band, some reverb, and an effector. Now, if I take this right here and I take out the effector, this is what it sounds like. It sounds louder plus a little bit of reverb. But once you put the effector in, this is where the magic starts to happen. And also it doesn't sound like that because I put it an octave higher. It sounds very Jack U like one of those Skrillex Diplo kind of drums. So what we have here is we have some delay. It's set on 1/8, and the tempo is being automated. And it's around this right corner to make it kind of like this delay-ish, reverb-ish, like comb filter kind of sound. And yeah, and this hi-hat's nothing really interesting. It's just a eighth note pattern. Plus a little bit of reverb. And we got some impacts to add some intensity to the drop. Then we have some ARPs using... I think I used Massive for this. Yeah, I did. So this is very simple. Just use a square rave and automated the volume. So then after, it makes this really plucky sound like this. And also put the high-end frequency. I cut off the low frequency and I added more reverb and some crowd effects to add a little more, fill in the gaps a little more. And this is where the cymatic sample is. This is a chant. And then how I made this. I pitched it down a little bit, and I used the same effect what I did with the snare drum. You turn it to the delay. Oh, I forgot to put the 1/8. There, it sounds a little better. So what these are speeds. So I always choose the fastest one because it sounds best. And then the tempo, you kind of play around with it, which one you think it sounds good or not. And then we have some 808s using the flex preset. And I kind of boosted the low end a little bit because you want some sub frequencies because there's no sub bass in here because this is trap music. And we have our first growl. There's nothing interesting about this. This is just one of my very standard presets that I make with my own wavetables and a little bit of FMing. Some filters, we add some distortion and then a phaser, plus some EQ womping the mid frequencies and some high notch filter 12. And then over here, this is where it's a little interesting because this sounds actually relatively simple to make. But it's all about the placement of where you use your flanger filter. Now, if I don't want to move it because I'll ruin the sound, but if every time you move it into a different place, every time you place it differently, it will sound completely different. And it took me quite a while to make the sound I wanted. And over here we have the main sound, which is not that. Which is a very simple preset using two saw waves and then FMing each other. And then it uses an all passes filter that really shapes the sound. And add some flanger to add the high end a little bit. And I add some legato to it so it can have, so the notes will slide more easily. Now over here is just some growls to fill in here. And then we have this sound that I rendered it out because it was in one of my packs that yeah. And over here we have, it's another drum sample. So let me take out the post-processing. Sounds very boring. Now what I did here, I EQ'd it. I took out the low end, put some compression, and instead of using delay filter this time, I used the Vox filter, which is supposed to be used for vocals and all that, but it works very well for drums. And yeah, and then it's a snare filter pitch down, and I used without this Y filter moving, it won't change the pace. So when I automate it, the pitch slowly goes down. And then over here, it's the same thing, except over here, it's up an octave. It's practically the same thing. Now, I could get into more technical stuff, but I've made this in under an hour. So this is not like some of my best tracks I've made. I don't know if I want to finish this or not, but this is practically the general layout when you want to make trap music. You want a clean mix. So if I take out the max mix, trap music is very oriented towards drums and the 808s. Those are the main things you should focus on, because I have plenty of dubstep influence in here. It kind of fills in like the mid ends. That's what you want to do. But normally you would put synths and all that. to fill in the gaps and all that. So yeah, this is a fairly clean mix, as you can tell. I'm going to show you the EQ. And then with the mastering, so turn that off and then we master it. So mastering, I only used a Maximus to do that. So yeah, that's practically how you make hybrid trap. And shout out to AUXTHENTIC for sharing their sample packs with me. I recommend downloading them. Link in bio. Link in the description. So yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, share, whatever. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Listen to my other tracks. Also going to be in the description. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.